Okay, so I've got this room to grow bunk bed, a Jubilee bunk bed. Now the first step is to do the what I call the headboard and the footboard and the two sides. So things you're going to put is, it says first of all you put the dowels in, and those are just, you just push them in. And if you really wanted it to be really strong and you weren't worried about taking it down, you could put some wood glue on those dowels and shove them in there. Then the next thing is one of these little grabber type things. Now you got to put the screw side up and you have to line it up. When you go to put it in, that screw needs to be lined up perfectly. You'll have to fiddle with it because it'll move around. So that's that one, that one. Then you can see how the screw sticks out a little bit. Now, what I usually do, now you could get these upside down, so you want to make sure this is lower. You could, if you put it upside down, I don't know if it would fit or not, but you want to make sure that's lower. And then the first one only has 2 holes. The other one, the top one, has 3 holes sets on it. So you can adjust the height of the bed. So, now, what I do now is I'm going to take it. When you put this up, you're going to have room to get behind there, so you can screw the screw in. And they supply you with a, one of these things, and they say do not use power tools. So if you're not confident with power tools, now I've got a little drill bit that it's got adjustable torque on it, so I can lower the torque down so it doesn't over tighten. But I don't think that's too big of an issue. But you got to get it in straight. That hole has to be lined up perfectly in there. So we got the screw in. We got all the dowels in. We got to put one last screw in that side. I was just showing you how that fits on my drill bit like that. That'll go in here. So it's a lot easier if you have 2 people. So we just shove that in there. Now, I'm going to take and lift this one up and stick it in there. I might try and put the screw in just to begin with, to tighten it up a little bit. Don't tighten it all the way up if you get it started. That one has to go in one more place. Oh, there's one right here. So again, with the line in parallel, it's going to move around, so you're going to have to make sure it's, when you get up there, if it doesn't go in, you'll have to fiddle around with it a little bit to make sure it goes in. Ooh, my knee popped. That one's got one in there. So that's what I'm going to do now. Put this one on, tighten that screw in there, and put that one on, and it'll lay at an angle. So that's one reason why you don't want it too tight. Okay, so that's step 1. All right, this is step 2. Now what I've just noticed is, as I said, these things will fiddle around. So you're going to have to make sure that, see how it's sticking out? You got to push it in. It has to be pushed in for the screw to line up properly. And this thing is just as fast as the drill. Once you can start it with your fingers. And if it doesn't, then you have to jiggle that a little bit at the same time until it catches. You'll know when it catches. There it is, it's caught. And you just snug it up, but not super tight. Where is it? Okay, that's in there. Now, heavy breathing. It's hot in here where I am. Now what's next? Oh, it's the that's the top piece. Now this is where it gets a bit tricky with one person. I'll have to figure out what I do next. That's the bottom. That's a slat. That's the back on the top. That's the back on the top again. Okay, so what they want you to do now is assemble this next bed. Then you're going to have to set it up. I'm going to do it in situ. I'm going to put one headboard on this end, footboard on that end, and somehow carefully stick it together. We'll see if that's going to work. I'm not sure if it's going to work. It might have to be that these are loose I might need 2 people to do this properly. Yeah, I think it is going to take 2 people, but I might have a little go and see if I can do it by myself first. Okay, the next step, you got to find the center piece. Now, I've marked mine here, and you have to measure. Take the measuring tape if you want, or you could, if you don't have a measuring tape, you could just space it out. But from that up there, right against there, see it, and up to here. Where is it? 84.7. Now, and then it says something about 98.7 on this side, so you can double check. But if you're off a little bit, what's going to happen is when you get down to the end, the gap's either going to be a little bit too small or a little too big. But the first screw you put in, you put the first screw over on that side, and then take your knee and push in so that's nice and tight. And then as you're going along, you do the same thing. You got spacers here. You put a spacer on that side, spacer on that side. And I put that screw in over there first. And then I come over and put the next screw in and put my knee on there and push it in. Make sure it's nice and tight. The tighter you can get it, the tighter the bed will be, less noisy, quieter. So I'm using my drill. They say don't use power tools, but I don't know how you're going to do it otherwise. And where's my little bit? Fell out. My bit keeps falling out, sticking in the screws. It's a posi there. So I put the first one over there. Now I've got, on my drill, I've got a setting what's called a torque setting. As I was saying, on my drill I got a torque setting. So I put that one in, keep it tight up against the spacer, and tight up against that side. You hear that break? That stops it from getting too tight. So keep it tight there. That's nice and tight, so you don't have to worry about that one. It's only if you have a gap there. Put that one in. Now if you get it so tight that you might have to take the screwdriver and pry it up a little bit, get that out of there. So that just goes there. And that goes there. And then in the corners, you have this big piece here. See how that is? That goes in the corner like that. So you just carry on, one after the other. And once I get all these on, the next step is to, now there's also an up and a down side. There's a countersunk side on that, so that makes the screws hide better, not stick up. That's nice and tight there. And one at a time, two at a time, two ends, one there, one here. Keep it snug up against the, see that, where's it? Keeps sticking, oh here it is. See, it stayed in there for some reason. I just keep some pressure on there gently. Get in there. It's hard to do holding the camera. So once it's be down in there, it's not sticking up. I could have pushed that one in a little bit more. But that's the idea. So you just get all those in. Then you got to assemble the other bed and make it ready so you can just lift it up and put it on the top. Okay. So back to my Mr. Tom's peanut bar. Lovely stuff. Okay. Talk to you later. Okay, so this is the next step. Now, unless I'm mistaken, you put these, this is the top bunk here. This is the back rails on it. It was long like that. And when you put it together, you have to put these in all at the same time. Well, actually, you don't have to do it at the same time, but you need enough slack so that you can get those in. So if you loosen off the bolts, and you can just gently wiggle it in there. But they call for this piece to be on there, but there's no pre-drilled holes over here. So what I did was I measured where it was, the center of it, and I've taken my a little drill bit like that, made a little pilot hole in there, and the screws that fit in here are the right size that go through there. Now a couple of the screws that I've used, the head has stripped out, so I went and got some different ones, but they're a little bit longer than the ones I want. So I've taken one out of here, and I can put that one in there, and it goes nicely through there. So see what I mean by the head's gone rounded on that. And it's actually, I was going to say it's easier to put these slats on before you put these side pieces on, but you really need these side pieces on before you put the slats in there, because you're trying to move the whole bed open to get them in there. So that's what I was doing, and it's a little bit awkward to try and get the screws in sometimes because it's so close to the side here. But there we go. Now I just got a couple more over here to do, and then like I say, I've done this one. Then the next thing we'll do is we'll put the dowels in the top of this bed, and we'll lift this one up and put it on. You don't have to put these things on until the bed's assembled. So a few more screws over here. The last one more, I think it looks like, and then be ready to lift her up, put her on. So that one, I don't know what the blocks are going to tell me, but I'll put that right in the middle, and then well, I don't think it can make any difference now, but put it in there, get that one in there, and we're ready to go. Get that on top, and then we'll assemble the front side of that and whatever else needs doing. Okay, looks like one of the last pieces here is this top rail. So what do we got? We got the dowels. This one's nice and tight at the moment, and it comes over here on the ladder. You gotta make sure you bit the ladder with that piece sticking up there. And on the back of the ladder, there's some little indentations there where your screw's gonna go. Same thing over here on this side. Now with this ladder, what I did was I used some PVA glue to glue those steps in good, because that gets a lot of traffic, and it's not going to make any difference whether the bed is assembled or disassembled. And then one last thing I got to do is I got to put some screws in here in these spots to keep it up, and then there's lots of little covers I think for the screws, and that's about it really. So when you're putting this on over here, you might have to wiggle that around a little bit, up and down a little bit, to make it work. So I need one more of those things right there. There it is here. Same story, straight in line. And you want to make sure it's well in there, good. And just stick it on there, tighten it up a little bit, and then one of these longer screws here will go in the back of that board. Sometimes there's a screw hole down here. It might be the other way around, but so that's what's going on next. And then what else was I going to say? Nothing else, I think. It took 4 people for us to do this, and it's getting on 6 hours or at least. It's taken me all day to do this.